Well, if you guys can't tell, we butchered a beef today. Let the little ones do a little bit of skinning. The youngest one is not mine in that one, that's my nephew, but the older one is the boy, as many of you will recognize. Boy, did they think they thought they were hot shit out there helping skin that cow today. I didn't want to show the butchering, guys, because some people just don't go for that thing, and it's not that I worry about offending other people. I just don't feel like listening to it, you know what I mean? A lot of people in this world, they don't understand where their meat comes from. They don't care to understand. I guess they'd rather get it from some big slaughterhouse where they aren't very good to the animals. So, but anyway, we got that thing, we got it butchered out, we got it skinned, we got it halved. It's over to the butcher shop now. We used to cut our own up, but none of us have that kind of time this year, so we're paying to get it done. So anyway, I went over to the dark side. I stopped at an Amish sawmill on the way home after first stopping and paying for and ordering all the tin for the roof. So that's going to be here a couple of weeks. I'm going to pick it up. I pick it up in a couple of weeks, but it's probably going to be a little bit before we're able to put it up there. But it was a little chilly last night out there in this barn, and that settled my debate in my head whether I wanted to sheathe this thing first or put the roof on it first. So we're going to start sheathing the first floor. Now the Amish have been having trouble getting logs because with all the rain we've had this year, it's been awful hard to get logs out of the woods for a lot of people. So what I did, I bought what I could from the Amish in 1x8 and 1x10s. I would have rather have had solid pieces all the way, but we're going to be piecing some through. Keep in mind this is a sheathing layer, so I'm not too concerned about it. But anyway, I just figured I'd hit the intro while it's still light out. You guys could see the load of wood in the back of the truck here. The poor old Ford, she hauled it home just fine. Love my Ford. But anyway, we're going to get to work here in a little bit, and I'll see you guys on the other side of it. Should be a good one tonight. Alright guys, well now we get to get creative. The 1x8s I have and the 1x10s I picked up when I grabbed them today at the Amish sawmill, which I tried to avoid, but they did a really good job on these boards. This is the most consistent lumber I've ever bought from them. So I figured, so I got a truckload today. Can't remember the exact board footage, but 40 cents a board foot is what they charge milled up. I got a truckload today for 219 bucks, a full truckload. You guys saw it at the beginning of the video. What I have in that truck is close to enough to do this here and most of the way down one of the eave walls. That's pretty good for 200 and some bucks, 219 bucks. We can't complain about that. But they didn't have exactly all the lengths I needed, so there's going to be a little waste there, because what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to butt these ends together to get the full height. Now this is just a sheathing layer, because what we're going to be doing down the road, it's definitely not going to be this year, I could tell you that, but when the structure's completely up and we're all good to go, I'm going to be tar papering this whole thing, furring it, and then we're going to be making white oak shingles to go over the whole thing, so this barn will be shingled in. Now you're also going to notice that my siding boards on the front here, they're touching the gravel. I don't like that because they're going to rot. So what we're going to have to do come spring I have to scrape some of that gravel back to get it below so that I don't have a water line sitting there. When I go to do the oak shingles, I'm probably going to dunk them in water sealer, like Thompson's or something like that. So, but anyway, because I know this is going to sit for a while, I don't want to just do a butt end on these. I want to 45 them together with the long point of the 45 pointed out. That's not to say water still isn't going to, through capillary action, go up through that joint, but it'll help. It's not going to run right in. So we're going to get going, and I'll see you on the other side of the next part. Let's get the last of these ones on. I think I better cut up this pile of flitch out here tomorrow. All these milk cuts, get them out of the way. Really can't do the other side until those are gone, but here we are. Now, see if we can highlight this with a flashlight and see if you guys can pick it up from there. So I have a 45 cut on all these boards down through here. I've got a 45 cut on the bottom of all of these. Now, if I just, like I said earlier, if I just butted these together, it would probably not shed rain very well. I mean, that water just run right into it. But that's how I do when I'm doing siding, and I have to butt them together. That's just how I like to do it. Now up on top here, I'm not really all that concerned if this. These don't need to be flush with the top of the tie beam. I'll run flooring over top of it anyway. But what's going to happen is that layer of siding up above, or the layer of sheathing, is going to hang down over this, and I'll bring it down quite a ways. That way I get a little extra protection there. Yeah, it worked out in that wind last night, and I thought, you know, maybe it's a good time to start putting some siding on. Obviously, you guys see the results of what happens with the tarps. They don't work worth a damn. I have more pencils laying around out here because I drop them out of my hat all night long. There. And also, guys, I forgot to mention it earlier, on the bottoms of all these boards, I've got a 45 cut on those, and what that does, so say I cut that square, when that rain comes down, it's going to run back in on that board, and then it's going to draw up into your walls. So what I do at the bottoms of them, if you guys are doing any board siding like this, cut a 45, put the long point facing out, and that water doesn't run back up and into the building. Now when we get onto the eave walls, and pretty much this is the only spot here that's close to ground contact, and it's not really bad, it's all gravel, so it's pretty well drained. It's not like the water sits here. I'm still going to have to scrape some back. The slab here is only about an inch above the gravel, maybe a little bit more, so I'm going to have to scrape some back anyway. But I'm trying to keep it so this is sloped away towards the driveway, so when we get a lot of rain like we've had this year, it doesn't run backwards into the barn. Once we get around to the sides, I've got a good 8-10 inches all the way down, and closer to probably 20 inches by the back end of this thing that's actually above grade. I've got it banked a little bit, but I've kept that level well below the top of the slab, so that way when I do the siding like this, it'll be overhanging on the slab so that water's not going to run back up and in. And another thing I did with this, that I flared out the bottom of this. The bottom of this siding's 2 inches, so it flares out and it comes down and it bows out. I did that for water reasons, not so much for aesthetics. I like the look, you know, but it's more to keep the water away from the building. So I was going to get real fancy with it, do a bunch of flashing and stuff like that. Then I got thinking about it. I could do that, but I could save a lot of time, because remember that bottom girt, if you guys haven't noticed when I put them on, to the bottom of that girt's about 9 inches above the slab. So I'm not worried about that rotting out from water. Our posts, they're on pressure treated feet, and they're sealed in between the pressure treated and the end grain of the post. So as long as I keep the water running off of this and going out away, I should be all right. The only problem, the only spot I may have an issue with that is going to be the front of this building, but the rest of it, it's well above grade, so I can go ahead and overhang my siding. But we have 2 more boards, and let's get her done. Let's get it done. Tell you, this is turning into a conversation with you guys every night, pretty much. I kind of like that. One more. Ground is very uneven right here. Good place to take a tumble. There we go. We got her, guys. Hey, son of a bitch. There, that's better. Didn't want to cooperate with me. There we go. Let's go see what this looks like from the inside. Alright, let's be the king of crappy lighting, huh? So here's what it's going to look like on the inside. Now, so what I did to flare this out, I have 2 inches of furring strip down here on the bottom girt. Now this bottom girt's the same all the way around the building, so it'll be the same flare out towards the bottom on every single one. Now my forms are still in. I never took the forms off, which I'm not too worried about it. I may knock them off over here on the high side, just I don't know, just to avoid any rot issues where they're going to contact this pine, and I'll probably end up taking them off on here at some point. But you know, it's funny, I've been worried about all the rain and everything. I've been worried about my joinery and all that. These forms are built out of pine. I built these, I formed this up 2 years ago. We poured the concrete 2 years ago this fall. Would have been October. And I just had to knock some of these out of my way. And I'll tell you what, they're just as solid as the day I put them in. That puts my mind at ease a lot better. These things have been in the ground through a very wet year, through a wet winter last year. I'll take it, not too bad. So going forward, the plans for this, what I want to do with this, anyway, I want these girts and everything exposed here on the inside. So what we're probably going to do before I put the wooden shingles on the outside, the shakes, I'm either going to go with cedar or I'm going to go with white oak. To be honest with you, I could probably get white oak a lot easier. And that's a pretty good wood for that stuff. You go to Northern Europe, Finland, Latvia, places like that, most of the roofs are made out of white oak. They seem to hold up pretty well. They usually do like 3 layers of white oak shingles. So probably what I'll do, because I want this building insulated, this is going to be our mainstay shop. And you guys are going to get real familiar with this shop if you keep watching after we're all said and done here. Straighten this up a little bit. So this will be our mainstay. This is where we're going to be spending a lot of time. The forge is going to go, well, we'll get into all that when we're closer to that point. I'm getting ahead of myself again, but so anyway, I was thinking about going through and sanding all these timbers once we're all said and done. And I may do that yet, but you know, I kind of like that those dark timbers against this really bright siding. It's kind of cool. So the reason I'm jumping in and doing this right now, it was windy and nasty last night. I worked out here for a little while. Camera kept dying, you know, just the cold, the wind, it was killing it off. But I was going to wait to do this until I had the roof on. And at the same time, if I start getting siding up, you know, I'm going to buy the siding from the Amish. There's Amish sawmills all over around here. It's just going to save me a lot of time, to be honest with you, just so I can make progress a little faster. Actually, probably about 5 or 6 times as fast if I just go pick up the 1-inch boards. Not a big deal. I'll probably finish the decking with whatever I don't have. I've got some 1x10s kicking around, 16 footers, and I'll be throwing those up here pretty soon so we can keep moving on that. But way I figure I could probably make more progress if I'm at least a little more comfortable to work in here. Don't have the wind blowing up my ass all winter long. So as I can, when I can afford it, when I can get $100 here, $100 there, and siding boards, we'll just pick them up and we'll throw them on. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Hey, we're making a little bit of progress every night, and that's all I can ask for. So anyway, I'll see you guys on the next one. You have a good evening.